the W5 logo. Then in the studio before a city backdrop, Lloyd.
Welcome back to W5. Mention William Shatner, and the character that has pretty well defined his career as an actor immediately pops to mind. James T. Kirk, the swashbuckling captain in the original Star Trek TV series. But it would be a mistake to stop there. Shatner's career has transported him to role after role, like T.J. Hooker, a hard-nosed cop, or on Boston Legal, lawyer Denny Crane. And this year, host of the Juno Awards. Shatner's career spans 7 decades, a star's trek, if you will, from stage to screen to writing, directing, and as Tom Walters reports, the most important role, keeping William Shatner front and center.
Street.
It may be the Pantages Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, but for now, it's Shatner's world. This is opening night for the U.S. tour of his one-man show.
On stage.
I go to the door, and it's a little boy. Yes? He says, "Are you Captain Kirk?" I said, "Yeah."
We love William Shatner.
I've had a crush on him since I was a teenager. It's his world. We just live in it.
That's probably the hardest working guy in showbiz.
Of course, in a showbiz town, fans include other actors, like David Hasselhoff.
He's just a legend, and I kind of follow in his footsteps as a guy that's been around for a long time, and managed to cross over several generations.
He says, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "Well, Dad, I want to be an actor." "Oh, son, don't do that. Don't be an actor, no." He said, "That's no life." He said, "You'll be a hanger-on." I said, "But Dad, I gotta try."
Could you imagine your life as anything other than an actor?
I started at the age of 6. I've done nothing else but write, direct, whatever, involving entertainment, theater, movies, whatever. I've never done anything else but try and make you smile or laugh or cry.
Born in Montreal in 1931, educated at McGill, William Shatner performed there and on the CBC before moving on to parts of the Canadian Repertory Theatre in Ottawa. And when the Stratford Festival was still in a tent, he appeared in Julius Caesar, Taming of the Shrew, and The Merry Wives of Windsor. From there to Broadway, and with some initial hesitation, on to Hollywood.
Space, a final frontier.
You seemed quite conscious of avoiding the peril of being typecast, and yet, as fate would have it, you would end up in perhaps one of the greatest iconic roles on television. Was Kirk something that you had been trying to avoid, a role that was that defining and that specific?
Well, yes, it's defining, but how's it defined? Leading man, kiss the girls, fight the fights, solve the adventure, move on. Leading man.
Just kissing the girls was defining, when he boldly went where no man and woman of different races had gone before. But after 3 seasons, when Captain Kirk came back down to Earth, it was a hard landing. Shatner was nearly 40, his marriage over, supporting 3 kids, and for a time, living in the back of a pickup truck. I think there are a lot of people who'd be surprised to hear that the original Star Trek series did not make you fabulously wealthy.
No, we were horribly underpaid. We didn't get any money. We didn't get any residuals. And that's like unheard of now. The people are outraged. You mean you don't know? We don't get paid. For 50 years of repeats, we've never gotten paid for any of those repeats.
Because if there was ever a series that was like a winning lottery ticket, you'd think that would be it.
That would be it. You don't have to work again if you didn't want to. But that's not what happened.
In any case, you want to.
I love what I do. And the saddest thing I keep hearing is people saying, "I'm retiring, and now I'm going to do what I really want to do." What kind of a life was that?
Shatner as a wrestler.
At 81, yes, he's 81, he won't even think of retiring. He's doing what he really wants to do. Keep working.
Happiness
Shatner in Boston Legal.
is right now, my friend. On this balcony, right now. You and me.
Then in a black and white episode of The Twilight Zone.
But could he have been a little more selective? Consider the Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. That was elevated into a TV movie, The Horror at 37,000 Feet. You wrote, the reality is when you open a script entitled The Horror at 37,000 Feet, you can be certain you're never going to hear those magical words, the nominee is for Best Picture. So is there ever a case to be made for...
But you've picked a perfect example. A perfect example. So I look at the script of Horror at 37,000 Feet. I'm not working. I've got a family of 3. I've got a house that needs payments, and I drive a car. I'm like any businessman in the world or any guy working. I got to work.
And that work has become part of the Shatner shtick.
Looked out the window, and I saw something on the wing of the plane.
Here we are, 50 years later, talking about that show. So there's something to be said about that.
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of staying power to something that we are talking about 50 years later.
Who knew? Yeah. I didn't know that was going to happen. I said yes because it's a payday. And working actors, contrary to guys who make $20 million for a picture and sit back and wait for the next picture, most of us, except for that handful, can't afford to do that. We have to work.
Which is why it's not hard to find a Shatner rerun. I understand that you tend not to watch your performances.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, have you ever dug out old pictures of yourself when you were 15 or 20 or 25 or 30?
Okay, I take your point.
That's my point. Holy cats, did I look like that? You know, was that me and now me? So, and I'm forced to not only take a look at a still picture, I'm forced to look at me in motion and the change that age brings about.
On the other hand, it is your art. That do you not sometimes find that when you do have occasion to see your work, you look back and say, I really did a good job in that role, or
that's an interesting point, and it's true. I have a severe case of not thinking I'm good enough for anything about that. My work's never good enough, and I keep whipping myself and goading myself into thinking I could have done better. I could have done that better. I should have done that better.
It's a self-critical man that can look at his own work and say, well, that wasn't my best work.
Well, I'm self-critical.
Shatner in Third Rock from the Sun, and in the movie, a
They're
masked
having
man
sex.
holds him at
Sir,
gunpoint.
if I may, I want to do that. I've done quite a bit of theater. I played Iago in Twelfth Night.
The Kirk role established you as a leading man. There comes a time where that role starts to evolve. How conscious were you of that in sort of seeing your persona evolve into a more comedic role?
Not conscious at all. When I was in Canada performing, I spent about 5 years in Canada doing a play a week of some kind, either in repertory or some summer theater or winter theater, Canadian repertory theater. I did a lot of plays, and they were comedies, and everybody played a comedy, and I was playing comedy. When I came down to the States, they found me more serious, and I was by myself playing serious roles. But at all times, if you watch, you'll see me thinking, this is a funny moment. That evolved into playing comedic roles, but not all. I mean, I'm it seems to me, doing a variety of things.
Do you have the sense that there's a kind of a single overarching image that people have of you today?
I think I understand what you're referring to. And I suppose some people on a superficial thing go, well, he's funny, or does he get the joke, or is he laughing at himself?
Sitting on a park bench.
The eagle flies at dawn. The monkey eats custard.
His recurring comedic role, an overstuffed version of himself, notably in ads for discount travel company Priceline.
I'm a 5th-degree black belt.
As an old.
I'm fluent in 37 languages.
Subtitle. So
And I'm a master of disguise.
As am I.
I was going to mention the Priceline commercials as what you're referring to.
That has a little bit of
self-parody.
Yeah.
I understand that, and you're exactly right. The Priceline commercials are successful because I'm playing somebody who's so psychotic about getting you a deal that is funny.
Absolutely. It's the excessive seriousness that is the source of the humor.
That's exactly right. On one level, it's me being a very sincere actor about getting you a deal. I don't care if I die. You will get a deal. You will get the best hotel room I can get you. Here, take it. I'm dying. That's the last commercial.
Yeah.
So I'm playing it real, but it's about not idiotic, but it's about a subject that one doesn't die over ordinarily. So that's funny.
Save yourself.
Shatner on a teetering bus falls into a chasm.
When you do roles that involve self-parody, is there a danger when there's a little bit of self-mocking in what you do that you invite others to play the game?
Well, of course you do. And of course they do.
And does that leave you feeling vulnerable? Is that a...
Yes, you know, it does at times. Absolutely. But the feeling of vulnerability is part of being an actor. And I don't mean vulnerable to self-parody. I mean vulnerable to the emotions that lurk inside all of us. Most of us suppress it long enough so that we don't feel them.
A lot of people trying to bury those emotions, though. How demanding is it of you to tap into that all the time?
That's what an actor does. If an actor doesn't do that, it becomes a surface performance.
But isn't that draining?
Of course. That's what the work is.
Well, that's my point, though. I mean, this is...
Draining, of course.
Some people would say, I'd like to retire.
To what? To not drain? Plug yourself up. Don't drain. You plug yourself up and you don't drain, and then you don't live. Draining is living. You got to get rid of the excess water from the sink. Otherwise, it's going to overflow. So you drain.
You do draining, grueling work and keep coming back for more.
Well, that's the nature of what I do.
Next,
I had to be there. I had to rehearse.
Albums, novels, movies, television. He's done it all.
I still want to do well and to do work and to do new things.
What's next for William Shatner?
The glory of a one-man show and being successful.
When CTV's W5 continues.
The W5 logo and a clip from Star Trek.
Sound red alert. Man battle stations, stand by main phases.
William Shatner has made us smile or laugh or cry in nearly 200 film and television roles. And as an actor, he walks a fine line between the serious and the self-mocking. But there's another part of his career that really begs the question, is he kidding?
Recording studio.
I'm Iron Man. Ha, 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 ha.
Can I ask you a little bit about music?
Absolutely. Because it's a subject I know nothing about.
It's true that he doesn't sing, and yet he has recorded 3 albums of songs.
I love what you eat. You want yogurt, you got yogurt.
It seems as though you're okay with people who don't get your albums, don't sort of feel some connection to what you do, perhaps are suspicious that it's parody. I get the sense that you're genuinely delighted when somebody does feel a connection, somebody does get it.
Let's talk about that. I'm a trained actor from our Stratford Shakespeare Company. I've done iambic pentameter. I understand the quality of words. I understand the rhythm of words. I understand balancing on the meaning of a sentence, holding it there for a moment while you say, what's he going to say next, and then give it to you, and then dramatically holding you and luring you and seducing you into listening to me, okay? That's me. I don't know about anybody else. That's what I'm doing.
She came from Greece. She had a thirst for knowledge. She studied sculpture at St. Martin's College. That's where I caught her eye.
There are lyrics to songs that are beautiful and melody lines which are equally beautiful. I can't sing, but I can speak poetry. The really great songs are poetry set to music. It's like a scene in a movie with background music. That's what I'm doing, okay? Now, I don't know how you laugh at that. If you laugh at it, you don't get it. And I'm sorry you don't get it. But I, as an artist, have reinterpreted that song to my art.
Committing to that art, whether people get it or not, is a good example of his philosophy on life, saying yes to it.
As I say in the one-man show, it's very easy to say, no, I don't want to go there, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just stay here, I'll retreat. Saying yes carries risk. Yes leads you open to criticism and laughter and failure.
And it offers no protection from heartache. He was abruptly reminded of that in 1999, when his third wife, Noreen, drowned accidentally in their swimming pool.
She meant everything to me.
News clip.
her laughter, her tears, and her joy will remain with me the rest of my life. Thank you.
For this drama of excruciating reality, there was an eager audience of gossips and voyeurs. Shatner has since remarried to fourth wife Elizabeth, but there is a certain emptiness that is still there, because it has always been there. You write in your books at times about loneliness. How much has loneliness been a factor in your life? How central is that to loneliness? And
core.
Yeah? What do you mean by that?
It's the central part of life. We're all doing a one-man show. Mm-hmm. From birth to death, we try to cover it up, but we're all essentially alone. And that's my feeling.
How important is it to you to have the love of others? How important is it to you to have the approval of others?
Probably desperate.
How so?
I desperately need the love of others, and I desperately search for approval by doing this interview.
By doing your work is acting a search for approval in terms of...
Absolutely. When that audience stands up and applauds me, stands up and applauds me, and not just, oh, wasn't that nice, but they come up with a roar, because it's nothing that they expected. I move to tears every night. I control as best I can the blubbering. I realize that I still have the fire in the belly, the desire. At my age, I still want to do well and to do work and to do new things and to try and entertain you in new ways and maybe in old ways. I'm still there, desperately as I was when I was starting at the Canadian Repertory Theatre in Ottawa.
One of the things you wrote about, too, was I said, I don't understand the concept of retirement. It's not a bad thing to savor your memories. It can be wonderful and warming, but not at the cost of losing your excitement about the future.
Or the present, really.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing from you, is excitement about the present, excitement about the future, excitement about the moment, excitement about life lived.
The cliche is, you can't do anything about what happened. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, so live in the moment. The only thing you can do is live in the moment. Very difficult. Living in the past is regret. But you know, the truth about regret is that you don't know what would have happened had what you wanted to happen happened. You don't know what would have happened. You might not be sitting here. So regret is a two-edged sword.
You know, many people would say at 81, much of the richness of my life is in the experiences and the memories that I have.
Not at all. I'm here to tell you that isn't the case. I'm here to tell you that at every age, that's the moment. That's the moment. 81, I don't know what 81 feels like. My legs are sore. You know why? I got the flu in New York when I was doing the show. I did the opening, my most challenging moment of my life, I did with stomach flu. I accepted that as a challenge, and it was terrific. I'd come back from the show, I'd go to bed, and 22 hours later I'd get up and go do the other show. I lay in bed. People said they went to bed for four days with stomach flu because the flu knocks you out. I couldn't allow that to happen. I had to be there. I had to rehearse.
Some people would have those moments and they'd say, why on earth am I doing this? It sounds like there's no doubt in your mind why you do it.
No. The glory of opening a one-man show and being successful. That's...
Yeah, there is that.
There is that. If I had failed, I would have said, what am I doing? But I knew what I finally discovered what I was doing and cherished, worshipped, lavished every moment I could on what I was doing because I knew it would never happen again. Your life is adventure. Your life is saying yes. And that's what I preach in my one-man show.
On stage.
You want me to go on for Henry V? I've never rehearsed it. I've never said the words out loud except in the toilet.
So his one-man show becomes proof of its own premise and of Shatner's message. on the power of saying yes. Maybe.
One of the things you've mentioned is that you also like to make things up from time to time. Have you made anything up today, or are we...
The whole thing is false.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Studio.
Here's a bit of Shatner trivia. In 1956, he was the understudy in the Stratford Festival production of Henry V. And when the lead called in sick, William Shatner took his place to rave reviews. The actor he replaced, another Montrealer, Christopher Plummer. We'll be right back.
The W5 logo appears in gold letters.